I'm actually going to get out a little map, and it's just the distribution map for birds in my bird book, and it's a bird that's only specific to the Kruger National Park. Okay, so if we take a closer look here, we will see that the Kruger National Park is a very long and thin reserve, north-south. This is about 300 kilometers long, okay, and it's roughly 50 kilometers wide at its narrower points. So it's a massive ecosystem, but we are currently situated on this little corner here. We are added on a tiny little section. I mean, tiny. I don't have a small stick in the car, sadly. And I do. Hold on a second. That'll work. So we are basically a very small little square in this corner, and like tiny, really, really small, which is the whole of the Sabi Sands. So we are extended into the Kruger National Park in this little corner, and it's not showed on the map because this is only for the official Kruger National Park, which is owned by the South African government. So it's accessible to people from around the world. They can stay in all the various camps dotted through the Kruger National Park, and it's really easy to come here and stay here, rent your own car, stay in a room, drive yourself around. So it's really easy for anyone to come to the Kruger National Park. And the Sabi Sands is privately owned land, so each property that we drive on is privately owned. The Kruger National Park, like I say, is government owned, but they have got 5 properties that are leased to private lodges, and they have sole rights to that part of the Kruger National Park. So the general Kruger tourists will not be allowed to drive on these 5 private concessions. And something that I should have pointed out is that the whole right-hand side of this map, basically, is the Mozambican border. Okay? The fence that runs along this eastern boundary is quite dilapidated, and there's lots of holes. So animals do have free flow into wilderness area in Mozambique. It's unprotected but still wild. And there are plans for people to try and acquire this land and make it conserved and safe for animals. And further north up here is the Zimbabwean border. So it also opens up into Zimbabwe opposite the Limpopo River. That is the boundary right on that top corner. So it does open into Zimbabwe. So it's a transfrontier national park stretching into 3 different countries. And aren't we so lucky to be a part of this natural, massive ecosystem? It's self-sustaining. It requires very little man or intervention from us as humans, because the animals have got enough space to exist naturally. So I hope that gives you a better idea of what's going on here, Heidi. The Sabi Sands is 65,000 hectares. The Greater Kruger National Park is now more than 3 million. So we are a tiny speck on the map. And of the 65,000 hectares of the Sabi Sands, we will only have access to about 3,000 hectares here on the Wild Earth SafariLive product. So we are traversing a tiny, tiny percentage of this wonderful ecosystem. Well, there's some good news. It sounds like Brent is back up and running, and he has found a herd of animals for you. Enjoy.
Welcome back, guys. Huge apologies for all the gremlins that are invading us today, but Brian and I are back, and we're actually with a really large herd of wildebeest. I haven't seen a herd of this size for quite a while. There's probably between 15 and 20 wildebeest here, but spread out through the woodland. We're going to move again now, see if we can get a bit closer. And there's some impala running around here as well. So really nice to see a nice big herd of wildebeest again. guys were chatting about monogamy. So we're going to have a little chat about monogamy versus polygamy and why certain species like a steenbok, it's advantageous to be a monogamous species, whereas animal like wildebeest and impala and zebra, polygamy makes, a lot more sense. And there's some quite interesting reasons for this. There we go. Very nice, relaxed herd of wildies. So here we have a great example of a polygamous antelope species. Oh, there's even more back there. Let's try to count how many there are quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 that I can see. And there seem to be a few more quite far back in the tree line as well. But so it makes sense for a large animal like a wildebeest or a zebra, or even things like impala and kudu to be polygamous rather than monogamous. And the reason for this is they need quite large areas to feed in, so they're all constantly moving. And in this area, the males become sedimentary and they'll stay in a set territory, while the female herds will move between different groups of males. Whether an animal like a steenbok, which lives in a tiny territory, it doesn't need to move a lot. So the set territories and stuff, monogamy makes far more sense for an animal like that than it would, say, for wildebeest or impala or zebra that can move quite large distances and change between different males. So Joe, these guys are coming in from the north. Definitely keep a lookout. Zoomies during the day, they are generally heading down towards around the Djuma Dam Cam and those open areas around quarantine. Just going to try to loop around in front of them again. So a lot of different species have different adaptations to suit them. Hi, Elaine from Long Island. Hello, Impalas. Elaine from Long Island would like to know whether non-monogamous species contract any STDs. That's a very interesting question, Elaine. A lot of human STDs actually originally come from animals. It is thought that syphilis and gonorrhea were transferred from sheep and cows to humans. So it is, but what happens, and I think rabbits also are known to have quite a lot of syphilis as well. But what the interesting thing is, a lot of these STDs in the animals are relatively dormant and don't have as bad effects as they do on people. And obviously, there's been quite a lot of research into that. And, oh, hello, little man. There's been quite a lot of research into that because of how our antibodies and whatnot can affect. Oh, absolute pandemonium. They're playing. Oh, we're going to run out in front of us, right in front of us now. Wildebeest are known to have a silly 5 minutes, and looks like we might have one of those now, especially with this cool weather. And here comes the bull, and here comes the rest coming right in front of us. There we go. There we go. And wildebeest just sometimes get the joy of life in them, and they start running around and playing and chasing each other. And when they do this, they quite often run in a circle and come back to where they started. That looked quite serious. To the left of us now as well. Oh. Well, they just disappeared, but they're going to come back around right next to the car, chasing each other. For a second there, I thought there might be another male in the area, but it's not. It's actually the females who are fighting. And this looks a little bit more serious than a play fight. And the bull seems to be getting involved, trying to break it up almost. I wonder if it's not two groups of wildebeest that have met now. So this doesn't look like the normal sort of galloping play that wildebeest are well known for. It could be, though. It just could be that someone got a horn in the wrong spot, and that was that brrr we heard. So obviously we're not going to move the vehicle while this is going on, even though we're being charged currently. So very interesting, it's all females leading this charge. Dominant male is now deciding to get involved. He's coming there, leading the front there. There's the big bull. Absolute pandemonium. Are they keeping going?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's follow and see what's happening. That was incredible, guys. You don't often see wildebeest do that.
I've never seen that.
Hi, John. John actually made a joke. Is this the Juma's version of the Great Migration? Well, it looks to me, John, there's tussling, fighting, and all sorts going on. So it is quite interesting how different the animal behavior can be in different areas. And they're all just continually jogging on. There's some jogging on opposite us. I'll try to get the nice panning shot there. And there's the big dominant bull waiting for everyone to catch up. Now, I think if I remember correctly, we are quite close to the boundary of two dominant wildebeest territory. Oh, coming straight at us again. See that very circular run that wildebeest do? They start fight and then run around. It looks like now it's just playing. And I think what happened is when we heard that distressed wildebeest, I think a horn just got in the wrong spot. A bit of rough and tumble gone wrong. But back to your question, John, or your joke, actually. The wildebeest in Serengeti and Masai Mara, where they migrate in those huge numbers, 1.2 million of them, if my memory serves me correct, is also a factor of the habitat there. They get 2 rainy seasons there, and you've got those huge grasslands. So obviously you can have a lot more animals than we do in this woodland. Secondly, the animals here do migrate, but it's very seasonally, and it's generally much smaller migrations. So animals traditionally used to migrate through from the Kruger to the foothills of the Drakensberg, and unfortunately that has changed over the years because there's about 4.5 million people that live between there now. So they're completely ignoring us. You know, just jogging. The male looks to be getting a little bit distressed behind me because it looks like they're jogging on to the next male's territory. Let's try and catch up with them. So the social structure of a herd here is quite interesting. The fact that a male will keep or try keep a harem like a zebra, except a zebra male will move with his females, where the wildebeest bulls will be cemented into their territory and they will defend that against other males, and the females will actually move from territory to territory. I think by far the most exciting wildebeest sighting I've had since I've been here. So, one of the females in that knot will move the herd on between different males. They'll sometimes, depending on the territories, they can spend a week, can spend 2 weeks with an individual male. Otherwise, more than often, I've noticed just in my time in the Sabi Sands in general, it's not often that they spend more than a few days with a single male. So this seems to be the female who's leading the charge. And their fork-tailed dronga, as always. Liz would love to get a close-up on one of the wildebeest faces. We will try to do that as soon as they stop, if I look like they've calmed down a little bit. And then Christy, hang on, I'm just listening to something. They're snorting now. I'm not sure they've spotted a predator or they're just snorting. Christy would like to know whether it's possible that they might get hurt during this rough and tumble play time. Most definitely. I mean, we heard that one female and looked like the horn got right up under her in her armpit there, and she made that terrible sound, which might even attract predators. It's a distress call, so obviously that was hurt. And it does happen that they can get hurt during these play times. And not only from a horn, they could step in a hole. It seems to have calmed a little bit for now. Hello, wildly beasts. And you can see there's a little guy. So those are this November, December's babies. And if we come off to the right a little bit, there's the dominant male. You can see he's got a much sort of bigger head than the others and that sort of more fur on his face. It seems like, oh no, I thought all was calm. And quite often it's very difficult to figure rhyme or reason why the wildebeest do this. See a nice big herd for this area. And all the drongas, you can see them above, hawking insects as they're disturbed by the wildebeest. Pop around, it seems like they're changing direction again. Occasionally you'll see a few sort of young wildebeest bulls together, but it's quite uncommon. Normally you'll see the single bulls, and the young bulls will stay with the natal herd for quite a while till they sort of meander off on their own to try establish territories. What happens is they establish territories in very substandard areas where you're not going to get a lot of female action moving through, and maybe when they're a bit older, then they'll start challenging for the more prime areas. Hi, Gilly from Wisconsin. Welcome on the back of our game drive vehicle on this cloudy sunrise safari. Gilly said she watched on one of the waterhole cams a herd of wildebeest terrorizing a little vervet monkey. Every time it would come down to try a drink, it would charge. They would charge and chase it. I think they were just playing, Gilly. And I say wildebeest, quite often, my dad always calls them the clowns of the bushveld. So they do have these like crazy 5-10 minute periods where they just go absolutely bonkers. I've seen them chase impala, I've seen them run around and chase zebra, I've seen zebra try to kick them because they're getting annoyed with the wildebeest. But it does happen. But it looks like all is calm now. So we're going to continue on. But what a fantastic wildebeest sighting. Definitely one of the most exciting ones I've had in a really long time. Back to grazing. Morning, Roger from Wisconsin. Welcome on this sunrise safari. Roger would like to know, wouldn't all this running around make them easier targets for the lions because they'll be worn out? Not really, Roger. The wildebeest have got quite a lot of stamina, and that was a very short sort of spout of play. That's why when animals play, it is generally, or especially your prey species, it is quite a short sort of little adventure. Because if they did it for too long, that would be an issue. The one thing that does make them quite vulnerable during those bouts of prey is that they are concentrating on playing and fighting with each other, and that can make them sometimes very distracted and they don't notice a predator approaching. So if there'd been a lion close by and they'd heard that, they would have definitely come running. Even a leopard might come investigate. So hopefully, because we're looking for leopard in this area, if we meander around, we might find something coming to investigate that distressed wildebeest bellow. So I just want to check this area around here called Sandy Patch. We did get a report that the Birmingham boys were to the northeast of us here somewhere, and I still haven't seen them. And it's a sort of a little bit of throwing the dice to see if their tracks have come in here, but always worth a look. Also a very productive area for leopard. But it's good to be back in the bush, that's for sure. Although even on my holiday, I spent a bit of time in the bush, which was great. See, just as I was saying, I was pretty sure if I remembered my wildebeest territories correctly, that they were very close to the next. A single female by herself. This is normally the next wildebeest bull's territory. Maybe she got a little bit overexcited during all that running around and went a bit far and separated herself from the herd. Or she could belong to another herd. See, a little bit more nervous, went by herself. Obviously less eyes and ears to help find predators. Are the others following us there, Brian? Can you see?
Not currently, no.
Good morning, Debbie. And Debbie is contacting us via the Twitter sphere. Debbie would like to know a little bit more about wildebeests breeding and just might be more wildebeest down here. Well, they have a rut, which is quite similar to sort of impala. I think, if I remember correctly, the rut should be over. I'll double check for you now in a few minutes. And their gestation period is about, I think it's 7 or 8 months. And basically, those females during the rut will move between different males' territory, often mating with multiple males. And obviously, that always helps with genetics. And the youngsters will then stay with the adults, or the females will generally stay with their natal herd if the natal herd becomes very big, and especially in an area like this where there's not as much food as other areas for them. They'll split into smaller herds, which is what we normally see. And those herds are mobile, and they'll move through multiple male territories. But the rut is I think it's just before the impala rut. So the gestation period's a little bit longer than impala. So I said 8 months, 7, 8 months, and as I said, the females just move between different male groups. Males will fight over prime territory during that time, but it is unusual. They don't herd. Well, they will try herd females specifically during that time and during the rut, and they'll try herd them to keep them within their territory. But it's not like an impala that's sort of non-territorial for most of the time, and he'll just constantly chase females around and around and around. The males will try keep the females in that territory, but if they do cross into another territory, they sort of, forlornly sit on the edge of their territory, making funny noises at the girls, trying to get them to come back. So we just stopped here at Sydney's Dam. Just wanted to have a quick look. This is quite a high traffic area for the lions moving in and out of our area. Well, morning, Anna Marie and Edward. Both Anna Marie and Edward would like to know whether those were black or blue wildebeest we were looking at, and whether which do we get, or those were blue wildebeest. We do not get black wildebeest here. They do occur in South Africa, but they are high-veld species. They live on the high velds up on the big open grasslands and the top of the Drakensberg Mountains. Wildebeest, there are different variations. So this variation we have here, it's got a black tail and a black beard. Betty and the Masai Mara that are part of that large migration have a white beard and a white. My favorite wildebeest of all, and they only in
Welcome back, everyone, and I'm just going to sneak into a position here where we can allow Jean-Ray to film these impala heading off. It should be quite a beautiful view. We're on the northern end of the Arathusa airstrip, and this herd of impala are just heading off into some thick bush, but we may get some great shots of their rear end as they disappear, with the male following up from the back. What a pretty sight that is. And apologies for the crash across to us. Brent was driving through one of our lower signal areas on Sandy Patch Road, but he should shortly be out of it. They are such pretty antelope, the impala. We sometimes overlook them due to their high numbers. And unlike the wildebeest that it sounds like you had an incredible sighting of, the impala have already finished their mating. And even though this male is in attendance with the herd, all the mating would have already been done. So he's giving himself a bit of a false sense of ownership here. It means nothing that he's with these ladies. It's possibly just boosting his ego. We didn't have any luck on the western boundary of Arethusa. We did, however, find tracks of a large male leopard. It could well have been the Anderson male, but it looked like from early last night or late yesterday afternoon. And the tracks veered west into Elephant Plains, the bordering property where we do not go, sadly. But we were in the area, and it could have very well been a different story had our timing have been better. We are now heading back towards the area where we had some male leopard tracks this morning, but he was a young male whose tracks we had, in all likelihood Sindile. So we're going to snoop around that general area and surroundings in the hope that we'll find him, or who knows, possibly his mother. She could at any moment come back to that general area to collect him and take him to a kill that she's hopefully made, or possibly just to touch bases with him again. Even if she hasn't been successful, she will occasionally go back and move with him into a new area where she would like to hunt. So that's where we're going now. We've just got a question through from John regarding trees that elephants will not eat. As I said, most will be attacked by elephants. And you're right, John, there are certain trees that will not be eaten by elephants. The Tambuti tree is one tree that I've never seen elephants eat, and most animals actually will not eat the bark or leaves of a Tambuti tree because it's got a toxic milky latex. Having said that, though, occasionally I've seen giraffe feeding on Tambuti leaves, and porcupine will be able to feed on the bark and roots of Tambuti, so there are a few animals that can. This is exactly where we saw Sindile yesterday afternoon, so we are in the general area of where he was, and we had an incredible sighting of him hunting dwarf mongoose unsuccessfully, but this is where we saw him yesterday afternoon, just to keep you all updated. And then Peter would like to know if there's any poisonous trees in the Sabi Sands, and yes, the Tambuti is one. The euphorbia trees, which you don't have any in this area, but they are in the Sabi Sands, which are basically a cactus. They have also got a very poisonous milky latex that, even if dropped on your skin, will give you very bad burns, and if ingested or gets into your eyes will also cause you some serious problems. So there are a few trees that will not be touched by the elephants and also should not be touched by us as humans. Interestingly, the Tambuti tree should not even be used for cooking on, so the wood of the Tambuti tree, if we were to have a barbecue, or as we know it in South Africa, a braai, with Tambuti wood, just the smoke would make us nauseous and potentially sick, and even the meat cooked over those flames will also be unwise to eat and will make us quite sick. Come on, Sindile, where are you hiding? Now, even though his mother will leave him in any given area, he has been seen moving in our sightings with him, probably up to half a mile from where he was left by his mother. And that's good for him. It's good for him to explore and move around on his own. He is alert. He is aware of the threats out here to him. And he also knows that they've got such good hearing and senses that even if he moves away from the exact spot where his mother left him, he'll be able to hear her soft contact calls when she moves back into that area, and that way they'll be able to reunite. Could be anywhere here, and this is where we did have his last tracks this morning. They had been moving in this general direction. Here's Mornay. Another guy. Oh no, it's not. It's another guy. Hey, how you doing?
Lekker man, how you doing?
Yeah, very good. Morning, everyone.
Lekker man, lekker. Shadow my phone is always knuckling north, my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. I'll go there right now. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, eh? Cheers. Okay, well, that guy gave us a great update in Afrikaans, was the language he was speaking. And it sounds like they may have just located Sindile. So I'm just going to get on the radio and see what's going on. Darby for Scots. Morning. I'm told you've located Shadows Bantuan. This is awesome! Let's go! Copy, thank you very much. Okay, it's Shadow and a cab, so we need to move quickly. They're about to cross into our property on Juma from Arathusa, and the vehicle that's with them won't be able to follow them. So we need to make sure we get there quickly. I can see the vehicle up ahead, and I want to make sure we don't lose them. Awesome! Oh, now going into a thick area, and we must make sure we get there quickly. The vehicle's just up ahead on the road. Hold tight. Oh. Copy, thank you very, very much. Okay, copy, thanks. Copy, thank you very much. Yeah, I've got them here, thank you very much. Okay, awesome, folks, we can see them. And from what I'm told, they've just located them, and it seems like Shadow is on a mission, moving quite quickly. So it could be that she's made a kill and she now wants to take Sindile back to it. That's Shadow that we're looking at, not the young cub. Well, hang on, am I wrong? Could I be wrong? I'm not too sure, actually. No, that was Shadow, and the cub is here somewhere. How lucky are we? Our luck with the big cats continues. Oh, here's Sindile on our left. He's heading towards the same tree that she was on there, Gendre. Awesome. There we go, there you can see him. And he's following her. And I wonder where they'll head to. And he's a very similar size to his mother at the moment. He'll continue to outgrow her. But that's why I got a little bit confused initially. It's probably because I also couldn't see clearly through my watery eyes from that small roller coaster we took you on to get here. Well, this is absolutely wonderful. And we've seen him quite a lot recently on his own, but not so much together with his mom, so really happy that we can see them interact and hopefully head back towards the kill. Judging from the speed she's moving now, I don't think she has made a kill. They typically move very quickly back towards the kill that they have made, and I don't seem to think she is moving with that same intent. So it could simply be that she would like to move him to an area where she will then start hunting again. It's quite thick here, so I'm going to try and take the path of least resistance and just keep an eye on them, and every now and then we will be able to stop and allow Jean-Bay to take you a little bit closer and show you these beautiful cats, but we just have to be a bit patient in order to try and get into a good spot to wait. As I'm driving over a lot of these branches and trees, they will pop back up again. We know the different species of trees, and we only drive over the soft and flexible, fast-growing trees, not the slower-growing hardwoods. Okay, here we've got a little gap where we'll be able to see Shadow coming past us. And I'm just going to give the guys an update quickly. She is continuing parallel with Triple M from that last position, Davy. So still we'll get intermittent visual from here. Affirmative. Keep coming north from Zebra Drive. Awesome. Let's carry on here. Oh, wonderful. She's gone up into a marine tree. This is going to be beautiful if we can find a gap. Which we should be able to. Look at this. How awesome. Up on a fallen down marula tree. It appears like she may have seen something. Look at her tail twitching, and she's on the move. She's seen something in there, and this confirms that she certainly has not made a kill and looks to be wanting to catch something else in there. I wonder what it is. I can't see. Look at how wonderful this body language is. Her tail twitching in excitement. Now, she's definitely seen something in there, but what it is, we don't have a clue. Look at this. She's going to lower herself to the ground. I think as she gets closer, this is going to be wonderful and a rare opportunity to film her stalking in the open. Look at that. I'm looking back to see if I can see Sindile, but no sign of him yet. He has just arrived, and I think he's going to jump up onto this tree. So I think we should leave Shadow for now. I'll keep an eye on him and rather look at this beautiful opportunity of him up in the tree on our left here. Following his mother step for step. I'm going to let Doug, the other vehicle who's just joined us in the sighting, stay with Shadow. And it'll actually be better for us to leave her now and let her try and hunt through that thicker vegetation where we would not be able to follow her without chasing away the prey. Look at how awesome this is. That's the Fleming grimace he's doing, opening up a special organ in his upper palate. And it's a grimace almost, a Fleming grimace. And he's now looking on intently in that mother's direction. It'll be better if he does not follow because she has headed off to hunt and he could get in the way. Well, you don't get a much better view than this, folks. This looks like a false marula that he's lying in. So not the regular marula tree, it's got slightly different colored bark. And I'm keeping an eye on Doug. It looks like he's trying to maintain a visual on Shadow while she's hunting, but it's so thick there that we are not going to try and show you because we simply will not be able to get into the right place to see that action unfold. And it'll be far more enjoyable to sit here and make the most of this incredible sighting. The third vehicle has just joined the sighting, so Liam's also here with us. And another good friend of mine actually is sitting in the passenger seat next to him that I haven't seen for many years, so that's a pleasant surprise.
He'll like to stay around with his mother until about 20 months to 2 years sometimes. He's a mama's boy. In my experience...
I'm just going to ask Doug if he can see what it is that she's stalking. Doug, do you have a visual of what she's laundering there? Listen to all the bird song. It's a beautiful morning here in the Sabi Sands, and the bush is alive. It's interesting that he knowed from this point to stop following his mother. I'm not sure how that is possible and how he would have read into that. But it really is incredible to see him waiting at this last point where she realized that there was some potential prey. And she ran off without communicating anything to him, yet he is still here waiting patiently. I think those are fork-tailed drongos that we can hear mimicking other birds' calls. can't quite see where they are. It is making for a beautiful chorus in the background there as we enjoy this leopard sighting.
Myself and Doug and Scott and Monty can go to church.
Looks like he may be thinking of repositioning. He can't appear to find a comfortable spot to rest his head. There we go.
Comfortable.
That's great. Well, we got some interesting ID features sent through from some of the viewers yesterday. Gilly, Barbara, and one other name that's just slipped my mind. But if you look closely, it's going to be tricky now. Natasha was the other one, thank you. And I hope all of you are watching again. But if you look closely when he faces us, he's got 3 distinctive spots just above the dotted black whisker line that you may have got a glimpse of there. But now that he's facing the wrong way, it is going to be hard to see. But it is important to know that you can identify leopard and differentiate them from the different spots that they have all over their body, but mainly the ones on their face are used. Liam, do you know where Doug's gone? Do you know what?
She's hunting something.
You don't know what? Okay.
Maybe a day.
Okay. Tristan, how are you doing, buddy? Very good. When did you arrive?
Yes. No, I don't.
Okay. Cool. I'll chat with you later. We must make a plan. Apologies, I was just saying hello to an old colleague of mine that our exactly Shadow is up to. We don't know too much more than what I've told you. She was hunting something. Doug has disappeared. He may have looped around the block to try and get a visual of her from the other side.
Getting all hot with my jacket.
Gilly from Wisconsin would like to know if the Shadow potentially left a special scent on this tree which would tell him not to continue moving. And I don't think so. It all happened so quickly that we didn't see any scent being left behind, and I don't think they do have scent that they can drop off to tell other leopard like their cubs to stop or continue. They just basically leave a trail of their smell, and the only time it would attract leopard would be when a female is in season. Her scent would entice males into the area, but I don't think it's possible for her to have left a scent behind that could communicate to him for him to wait, and that's why I'm so surprised that he has waited here. Possibly he was watching her and he noticed from her body language what she was doing, and therefore knows to give her space. But that is going to be a tricky one to answer. It's a good theory though, Gilly, but I don't think it is the case.
This cub, almost 12 months, and when he reaches a year old, because I told him that he had this message.
So we just got a question through from Joe on Twitter. Good morning and good to have you with us. Joe would like to know how old this leopard is, and he's about 12 months old now, Joe. So he's a young male. He still relies on his mother and will continue to do so for at least another 6 months. And it's from that age, from around 18 months of age, that young leopards will start being disowned by their parents, and they need to go off and fend for themselves. They will still be tolerated in their mother's territory, but she would prefer them not to be eating all of her food, because she'll be thinking about raising her next litter at that period.
Is she still with it? Okay, so she's not lunging, she's just yagging with my dog. I'm sitting here with this one.
Now, what I'm thinking of doing is actually going and joining Doug. He is still with Shadow. She still is on the move. And there's a chance that we could find some more action there. So let's continue and go and see what his mother's up to. We can always come back here a little bit later, or if Brent's nearby, he could potentially come here. Yeah. We must organize. We must organize. Cool. We go back to Manuleti during the day at the moment, but we'll make a plan. I'll call you after drive. Cheers, guys. Okay, folks, so sorry to rush you away from that, but I did hear there was other vehicles interested in coming to that sighting. So let's rather continue and follow a leopard that's on the move. And what a privilege it is to be able to choose between which leopard you'd like to look at. Excuse me. Doug, I'd like to come and join you with Shadow, please. So we are going to be there shortly. Just need to take this next little road here, and then we'll get to see what Shadow's up to. Well, Brent is not going to be able to come across to Sandile. He's busy following up on some elephant audio in quite a thick block, but hopefully in the next couple of minutes he'll manage to find them, and then you'll get to see some elephants. Okay, copy, thanks. Doug? Okay, copy, thanks. Thanks, Doug.
I'll check around here. Last time they're coming off there.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so he last had visual of her just a few moments ago in this area. So let's go in and see if we can find her. We'll just take a minute or two. If we don't have any luck, we will move off. Doug, she's just east of me, facing towards me. It looks like she's still on the hunt. She's very focused. We sadly didn't see anything for her to catch when we drove in on that other road. You'll notice quite a large flap of skin on her belly, hanging below her chest and up to her stomach. And this is indicative of a hungry leopard, but also of a mother that's given birth a few times. Absolutely beautiful. And there's been various debates and discussions as to how good of a mother she is, and there's different theories on this. I personally don't think she's a bad mother. I think she's unlucky to have lost her previous litters. Sindile is the only cub she's managed to raise to, I think, this stage of his life. Most of her cubs have been killed at a younger age. But like I say, this could have simply been bad luck, not that she's a bad parent. And her behavior this morning would emphasize this, because she's come in, relocated with her cub to make sure she doesn't lose him, and then continue to hunt in order to try and feed him. So I don't think she's a bad mother. I think she's just been unlucky. She's just up ahead of us here. She typically doesn't spend too much time on roads and often crosses over them, but we're going to get lucky here. Look at this, she's so close to us. Just a few meters from our vehicle. Wasn't that incredible? We are so spoilt in the Sabi Sands with really incredible leopard sightings. Not everywhere you go in Africa will you have leopard this relaxed with vehicles. They're a very widely spread animal and often occur outside of even national parks or reserves, because they can disappear so easily and avoid humans if they want to. And it's important to remember that, here. If these leopards didn't want us to find them and felt like we were interfering in their lives, in their hunts, they would simply lose us and not even let them find them. Just gonna try and get into a spot here where we can see her quite easily. But it is a little bit thick, so it's going to be tricky, and I'm going to try and forecast her movements rather than stay with her every step. And there's a road here that's going to loop us around to the general direction she's heading in. So I would rather use that. And it'll just take a second or two for her to pop out. So while we wait for her to pop out here, we're going to send you across to Brent, because he's been successful and has got some beautiful big elephants to show you.
So welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we've heard a herd of elephants at a distance, and we've managed to catch up with them. Just going to move again a little bit as they move into the bush here. And there's some really cute little guys here. And yeah, you've been having an absolutely fantastic time with Scott, Sindile, and Shadow. I would be lying if I wasn't slightly jealous. But we've got elephants, and it's always wonderful to spend time with a nice, really big herd of elephants. I think there's about 30, 35 animals in this group that I've seen or can hear around me. There, guys. Nice. You see this female in front of us lactating. They're a little bit earlier, you can actually see how wet it is under her armpits where the youngster has been drinking. And you can actually see the suckle marks there's a big tick there as well. Eating some baby squashers. Another little female, young female next to us now. Moving through. I'm not sure which herd this is. I can't see any individuals that I recognize offhand. But quite interesting, there are two very large tuskless females here. And that's a genetic, oh, hello. Another female just popped up right next to us. Amazing the sounds around, just breaking branches everywhere. And they can go so quietly when they want to. Hi, Brenda from Pennsylvania. You guys have been discussing dwarfism and giantism in animals. And Brenda said she watched a show about tracking giant tusker elephants in Nepal and two of the biggest ever recorded or whatnot. Brenda, I'm not sure whether that's actually giantism itself or just giant teeth. I think it's more likely to be that they have very large tusks. Giantism itself would be in actually the physical body size is above and beyond the normal. So, for example, an elephant, a giant sort of, or giantism in an African elephant. So even though the largest recorded elephant was nearly 4 meters at the shoulder from Angola, a giantism would need to be even bigger than that, sort of 7, 8 meters, almost double what the natural body size would be. But without knowing for sure, maybe they were huge monster elephants. But when the word tusker are used with elephants, generally referring to giant teeth rather than giant body size, and that's a genetic trait rather than an actual thing like giantism or dwarfism. But in the animal kingdom, giantism and dwarfism it does happen, but it's not very common, and quite often a lot of those animals, because they grow too fast or whatnot, they're unable to eat enough, or they'll have weakened heart rates and stuff, because sometimes the organs don't grow at the same size as the rest of the body, so they do have a lot of physical problems, and they don't have many doctors in that to deal with them. But there is different types of giantism and dwarfism in the wild, and more of that is evolutionary. And oh, sorry, Scott's had something really interesting, so we're in a quick link, and we'll be back a little later.
Go ahead. I was just double checking, Liam. Welcome back, everyone. And Shadow has headed into some quite thick bush. We might still be able to stay with her, but that's why I asked you to come across quickly. So that you could have one last view of her. But she has veered slightly further to the north, which means we may still be able to stay with her. Off to the left here is very thick, but it's opening up okay. So let's keep going, and I hope you enjoyed that brief sighting of the elephants with Brent. And I believe there's been a bit of debate as to how old this leopard is. Some of you are saying he's 8 months. He was born in August last year, so 11 or 12 months, or 11 coming on 12 months of age is the confirmed age from the guides in this area. Exactly when in August, I'm not too sure, but it's close enough, I guess, for us to know. And we should get a little gap shortly now where we can see her again. Just going to stop here. I'm told Sindile is still lying up on the same tree where we left him, so we're not missing out on any action with him. And she should just pop out. There we go. Well, we've got a question from Granny Billy Joe in Florida. And she agrees with my thoughts on Shadow's parenting and that she's not a bad mother. And I'm glad you agree, Billy Joe. She would also like to know, when did she lose her last litter before giving birth to Sindile? And usually what will happen with leopards, and it does vary on the specific leopard and their specific event, but if they do lose cubs for any reason, they can be seen mating within weeks of losing cubs in order to get the next generation into the system. So I'm guessing it would have been just a few months, 4 months, 5 months, before she gave birth to Sindile. Not sure if she's seen something. Her body language is looking quite intent all of a sudden. Let's watch closely here. I'm scanning ahead to see if I can see anything ahead of her. And my plan is for the next 9 or so minutes that is left of the broadcast is to stay with her and see if she doesn't get lucky hunting rather than heading back to Sindile. The good thing is we've got a good chance of finding Sindile this afternoon because we know where he was this morning. She's carrying on now in quite a relaxed fashion, so she simply may have heard something up ahead that got her attention, but is not convinced that anything's necessarily there. And look at how awesome this is. Just meters in front of us. And how lucky are we to be all sharing this incredible moment with this leopard. Take a closer look. Notice how carefully she places each paw down as she moves, trying to make as little noise as possible. And also notice as she goes how she registers her back feet into the exact same position of where her front pads were placed. That way, creating less noise as she moves. Incredible how she blends in as she moves into thicker bush. The beautiful coat makes for incredible camouflage. I love it when she twitches her tail from side to side. It really does get me excited. And it also gives us a good idea of what they're feeling. You can sense her excitement as her tail twitches from side to side. While we reposition and try and get you some more good views of her before the end of the show, we're going to link you back to Brent and the elephants so that you can make the most of that, and also so that Brent can say goodbye to all of you. So we will see you all a little bit later.
welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we're still with that Ellie herd. Shadow is doing some really exciting stuff. So just quickly, we're going to finish off. Been great having you guys on the vehicle with us, and great to be around the Ellies right at the end here. It's been a bit of a frustrating drive for Brian and myself, but hopefully everything's fixed now and we'll be full go for the sunset safari, and hopefully we can maybe catch up with this Ellie herd again, and we will discuss some of the stuff we started discussing, but due to gremlins we didn't finish, like giantism and dwarfism in an evolutionary role, and whether American alligators get to the same size as Nile crocodiles and other interesting things like that. But been wonderful having you here with us, and I'm quite sure you want to see what Sindile and Shadow are up to. So the Eddies are about to move into some very, very thick bush, and it's going to be difficult to follow. And there's a few individuals in this herd that have given me a few warning signs that they're not the most relaxed. So I definitely don't want to interfere with them, and I definitely don't want to push them. There's some nice noises behind us. And so it's been really, really wonderful. Thanks for all the questions that we do get. We really do appreciate them. And as always, it's a privilege and a pleasure to be able to take you guys out and share our passion for the African bush with you. And we'll see you all soon on the Sunset Safari. Have a quick look at the Ellies before we head back to the leopards.
Welcome back, everyone. And she was just on our left a few seconds ago, but now she's disappeared. So we're not sure where Shadow is at the moment. So sorry to rush you back from the elephants for no leopard. But like I said, just a few seconds ago, she was just on our left-hand side here. And I wonder if she's not lying down where we last saw her, or if she has potentially carried on. There's a little riverbed here that she could have ducked down into, making it very difficult for us to see where she may have gone. So apologies for that, but what a morning it's been, and we have had such great views of not only her but also her cub Sindile today. So our luck has continued with some incredible leopard sightings, and let's hope it stays this way. We've been spoiled, and it's so good to have all of you with us when we are having these incredible sightings. I'm just going to try and drive around a little bit just to make sure she's not lying down where we last saw her. Very awkward angle there. Nope. No luck. Again, apologies for that, but we're trying our best to show you as much of the wildlife out here as possible, and we possibly should have stayed with the elephants in retrospect, but hindsight is a wonderful thing, I guess, and this is a live safari, so you and us will be exposed to some of the hardships of a live safari, and this is an example of that. I'm just going to continue driving around for the next couple of minutes, and you'll be glad to know that Brent has just sent through a message saying the elephants have disappeared into some very, very thick bush, so we are not missing out on anything there. And who knows, maybe we will get lucky in the last few seconds of this drive and relocate her. Failing that, I'm very happy with the way this morning's turned out, and it's been wonderful to have you all with us. Chandra's just seen a kudu up ahead, so maybe she's caught wind of them and is stalking them. A young kudu is certainly potential prey for a leopard. There's also a waterhole nearby here, so she may have also been planning to come for a drink. Ooh, there's also impala here. Now, there's only 20 seconds left, but I'm going to suggest that we extend the drive ever so slightly because there's a lot of antelope in this area. So we are going to extend the broadcast and try and show you what happens next. I'm fairly certain she would have got wind of all these antelope, and who knows, maybe she'll be able to catch one. There's some impala in amongst these kudu, and there's a lot of great cover for her to hunt in here. There's a series of riverbeds and small drainage lines that flow out of this small waterhole that we've just passed. And I think it might be worth us just parking here for a moment or two and waiting to see what happens next. For any of you that do need to leave the show now, I bid you farewell. And for those of you who can stay, I'm really happy. We haven't extended a broadcast for quite some time, and even though it is a bit of a gamble in this scenario, we don't even know where the leopard is. I'm confident she could be close by. So let's wait a moment or two. There's also a slight breeze brewing. And John is just going to show you where all these antelope are. They're just off to the left of our vehicle. And the relevance of this wind is that it will make the approach of the leopard difficult to hear. There'll be ambient rustling of grass and leaves on the bushes from the wind. So favorable hunting conditions and a very favorable location for a leopard to be hunting in. Lots of cover, and maybe, just maybe, we will be here when the action unfolds. It's not easy to see the antelope in there, but you can see some kudu. There are also some impala. And because her senses are so much better than ours, she could have detected these before she had even seen them through this thick bush. The tricky thing about when leopards are hunting is that they tend to disappear as they're trying to avoid being eaten by, avoid being seen by their prey. And we'll need all your help now to try and spot this elusive cat. Like I said, we're not even sure that it's necessarily here, but I'm confident that she does know of the potential food here. She was very close to this area when we last saw her, and she was heading in this general direction. Well, the tricky decision I face now is how long to extend the broadcast by. We could be sitting here for an exceptionally long period of time before anything happens. Even though she may be very close, she could lie in wait for hours before making an attack. So rather than keeping you all here waiting too long for something that is not guaranteed to happen, I think we are going to call it a day. And the good news is we're going to have a good reference point to come and check up on this afternoon. It'll be the first place I come and check is here. And who knows, maybe we'll come here and find that she's made a kill, or maybe we won't. But what a morning it's been, and I thank you all for joining us on the SafariLive experience I hope you all enjoyed it as much as we did. And a big thanks to Tara, who was directing the show, and Nikki, who was lending her hand, as well as to Jeandre on camera. From myself, Scott, and the rest of the crew, we bid you farewell and look forward to you all joining the Sunset Safari a little bit later on. Until then, have a good one. See you later.